Welcome to Pigeon Healthy. Walk into any feed store and you'll see bags of pigeon seed mix for $2, $3, maybe $5. Cheap, convenient, labeled, complete pigeon feed. Most keepers buy it, pour it in the feeder, and assume they're providing good nutrition. But here's the truth. Those cheap commercial mixes are destroying your bird's potential. They're formulated for survival, not performance. They're designed to be cheap to produce and ship, not to optimize health. And if you're feeding them to racing pigeons, show birds, or breeding stock, you're handicapping your flock before they even start. I'm going to show you exactly what's wrong with commercial seed mixes, what champions actually feed their winning birds, and how to formulate your own custom mix that costs only slightly more but delivers dramatically better results. This isn't about spending a fortune on exotic supplements. This is about understanding nutrition and making smart choices with readily available seeds. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a bag of commercial mix the same way again. Let's start with what's actually in those cheap mixes. Pick up a typical budget pigeon mix and look at the ingredients. You'll usually see wheat, corn, milo or sorghum, maybe some peas and various filler grains. The ratio is heavily weighted toward the cheapest ingredients. Corn might be 40 to 50% of the mix because corn is cheap. Wheat is another big component. Milo, which pigeons don't even prefer, fills out the rest. There might be a token amount of peas or safflower, but not much. What's the problem with this? First, it's nutritionally unbalanced. Corn is mostly carbohydrates with moderate protein, around 9%. Wheat is similar, about 12% protein. These are energy sources, but they don't provide the protein and amino acids birds need for muscle development, feather growth, and reproduction. Peas are high protein, around 22%, but if they're only 10% of your mix, the overall protein is too low. Second, the energy density is wrong for different life stages. A breeding pair needs different nutrition than a racing pigeon in heavy training. Young birds need different ratios than adults. But commercial mixes are one size fits all, which means they're optimal for nobody. Third, the seed quality is often poor. To keep costs down, manufacturers use the cheapest grade seeds. These may be older, poorly stored, or contaminated with dust, mold, or broken seeds. Low-quality seeds have reduced nutritional value and may harbor mycotoxins. Fourth, there's no fat variation for different needs. Racing pigeons in hard training need more fat for endurance energy. Breeding birds need moderate fat for health, but not so much they get obese. Commercial mixes don't differentiate. And fifth, essential seeds are missing or present in tiny amounts. Seeds like flax for omega fatty acids, hemp for protein and oil, canary seed for small pigeons, sunflower for fat and vitamin E, these are either absent or token amounts because they cost more. Now let's talk about what top racing lofts and champion breeders actually feed. I've visited multiple championship lofts and asked detailed questions about their feeding programs. The common thread is that none of them use straight commercial mixes. They all custom blend their own or buy premium blends from specialized suppliers. And they adjust the mix based on what the birds are doing at that moment. Here's what a winning formula looks like. During racing season or heavy training, the mix is high energy with elevated fat content. A typical composition might be 20% small maize or corn for quick energy, 15% safflower for fat and sustained energy, 15% peas for protein and carbs, 10% wheat for energy, 10% dari or white milo, pigeons prefer this over red milo, 10% rice or paddy rice for easily digestible carbs, 5% hemp seed for oil and protein, 5% linseed or flax for omega-3 fatty acids, 5% sunflower seeds for fat and vitamin E, and 5% mixed small seeds like canary seed, millet, or rapeseed for variety and micronutrients. This mix is balanced for about 16 to 18% protein and 6 to 8% fat. The energy density is high to support the metabolic demands of racing. The fat sources are varied, providing both quick energy and sustained endurance fuel. Now contrast that with a cheap commercial mix that might be 50% corn, 30% wheat, 15% milo, and 5% peas. That's maybe 12% protein and 3% fat. It's not even close. During breeding season, the mix changes. Breeding birds need high protein for egg production and feeding squabs, but not excessive fat that causes obesity. A breeding mix might be 25% peas for high protein, 20% small maize, 15% wheat, 10% dari, 10% safflower, 5% sunflower, 5% hemp, 5% rice, and 5% mixed small seeds. This brings protein up to around 18 to 20% while keeping fat moderate at 5 to 6%. During molt, birds need even higher protein, around 20 to 22%, to support feather growth. A molt mix might include 30% peas. Some keepers even add beans like mung beans or lentils for extra protein, plus increased hemp seed and sunflower for oils that improve feather quality. The rest is balanced with energy grains. Off-season or maintenance feeding uses a leaner mix. Lower protein around 14% and lower fat around 4% to prevent obesity when birds aren't working hard. This might be heavier in wheat and dairy with less corn, peas and oily seeds. The key point is that feeding changes with the bird's needs. Commercial mixes can't do this because they're static. Custom mixing allows you to adjust week by week based on what you're asking the birds to do. Now let me give you specific seed profiles so you understand what each seed contributes. Corn or maize is high energy, moderate protein around 9%, about 4% fat, rich in carbohydrates for quick energy. It's useful but shouldn't dominate the mix. Too much corn makes birds fat. Use in moderation, more during racing, less during breeding or off-season. Wheat is energy-dense, about 12% protein, 3% fat, good for sustained energy but not enough protein as a base. Peas are the protein powerhouse, 22% protein, low fat around 2%, essential for muscle, feathers, eggs. Peas should be a significant component, especially during breeding and molt. Dari or white milo is moderate energy, about 11% protein, 3% fat. Pigeons prefer white dari over red milo. It's a good filler that's better than corn. Safflower is high in fat, about 16% fat, 14% protein, excellent for endurance energy in racers. It's more expensive but worth it for performance. Sunflower seeds are very high fat, about 25% fat, 16% protein, great for energy and vitamin E for feather and reproductive health. Use sparingly to avoid obesity or remove during off-season. Hemp seed is high-quality oil and protein, about 30% fat, 25% protein, rich in omega fatty acids, excellent for feather condition and overall health. Expensive but a small amount, 5%, makes a big difference. Flax or linseed is about 40% fat, 20% protein, the best source of omega-3 fatty acids for anti-inflammatory benefits and feather quality. Also expensive, use in small amounts. Canary seed is small, easily digestible, about 16% protein, 5% fat, good for variety in smaller breeds. Millet comes in various types, small and easily digested, about 12% protein, 4% fat, good as a small component for variety. Rice or paddy rice is very digestible carbohydrate, about 8% protein, 1% fat, useful for birds with digestive issues or during recovery. Rapeseed is small oily seed, about 20% protein, 40% fat, used sparingly for extra energy. Buckwheat is a specialty seed some keepers use, about 12% protein, easy to digest, good during stress or recovery. Understanding these profiles lets you build mixes strategically. Want more protein? Increase peas and hemp seed. Need more fat for racers? Add safflower and sunflower. Want lean maintenance diet? Reduce corn and oily seeds, increase wheat and dari. Let me give you 3 practical formulas you can make yourself. Racing season high performance mix for 20 kilograms total. 4 kilograms small maize, 3 kilograms safflower, 3 kilograms peas, 2 kilograms wheat, 2 kilograms dari, 2 kilograms rice, 1 kilogram hemp seed, 1 kilogram flaxseed, 1 kilogram sunflower seeds, and 1 kilogram mixed small seeds like canary seed and millet. Mix thoroughly. This is a high-energy, high-fat, moderate to high-protein mix designed for birds in hard work. It will cost more than commercial mix, maybe $8 to $12 for 20 kilograms instead of $4, but the performance difference is dramatic. Breeding season high-protein mix for 20 kilograms. 5 kilograms peas, 4 kilograms small maize, 3 kilograms wheat, 2 kilograms dari, 2 kilograms safflower, 1 kilogram sunflower, 1 kilogram hemp seed, 1 kilogram rice and 1 kilogram mixed small seeds. This is protein-rich for egg production and squab feeding, moderate fat to avoid obesity in parents. Off-season maintenance lean mix for 20 kilograms. 4 kilograms wheat, 4 kilograms dari, 3 kilograms small maize, 3 kilograms peas, 2 kilograms rice, 1 kilogram safflower, 1 kilogram mixed small seeds. Reduce peas slightly, reduce oily seeds significantly. Keep birds lean during rest periods. Now where do you source these seeds? Most feed stores carry the basics: corn, wheat, peas, dari, safflower, sunflower. For specialty seeds like hemp seed, flaxseed, canary seed, you may need to go to specialty bird feed suppliers or order online. Buying in bulk reduces cost. If you have multiple birds, buy 50-kilogram bags of your main components like corn, wheat, and peas. They store for months if kept dry. Buy smaller amounts of expensive seeds like hemp and flax since you use less. Check seed quality before buying. Seeds should be clean, dry, whole, not broken or dusty. Smell them. They should smell fresh, not musty or moldy. Avoid any bags with visible mold or pest infestation. Store seeds properly. Keep in sealed containers in a cool, dry place. Moisture causes mold, which produces mycotoxins that kill pigeons. Heat degrades nutritional value. Good storage maintains seed quality for months. Some keepers ask, can I just add supplements to cheap commercial mix instead of custom mixing? You could add a protein supplement or oil supplement to boost a cheap mix. But you're still stuck with the base ratios and seed quality. It's better to start with good seeds in the right proportions. Supplements are for fine-tuning, not fixing fundamentally poor nutrition. What about pelleted feeds? Some companies make pigeon pellets that claim to be complete nutrition. Pellets have advantages: consistent nutrition in every bite, no selective eating where birds pick favorites and leave others, easy to measure and feed. But pellets have downsides too. Birds often don't like them as much as seeds, reduced behavioral enrichment since birds enjoy foraging and cracking seeds, and if the pellet formula is poor, you can't adjust it. Many champion lofts use seeds, not pellets, because they can customize and because birds perform better on seeds they enjoy. Let me share a real-world example. A racing keeper I know was feeding a $3 commercial mix, mostly corn and wheat. His birds performed okay mid-pack in races but never won. He switched to a custom mix similar to the racing formula I described. Within one racing season, his birds improved dramatically. Same genetics, same training, different feed. Multiple birds started placing in the top 10. One bird won a race. The difference was nutrition. His birds had been running on regular gasoline their whole lives. He switched them to premium fuel and they performed like they were capable of performing all along. Another case was a breeder with fertility problems. Eggs weren't hatching well, squabs were weak. The breeder was using cheap mix, low protein. We switched to a high-protein breeding mix with 20% peas, added hemp and sunflower for oils, and provided the mix 6 weeks before pairing through breeding season. Fertility improved noticeably. More eggs hatched. Squabs were stronger and grew faster. The parents had the nutrition they needed to produce and feed healthy offspring. These aren't isolated cases. Nutrition is foundational. You can't train poor nutrition. You can't breed around it. You can't supplement your way out of it. If the base diet is wrong, everything else is compromised. Now, I know some people are thinking, but I can't afford expensive custom mixes. I understand budget constraints. Here's the reality. A good custom mix costs maybe 50 to 100% more than the cheapest commercial mix. If you're spending $4 for 20 kilograms of commercial mix, a custom mix might cost $6 to $8. That's $2 to $4 more per 20 kilograms. For most lofts, feed cost is a small part of overall expense. The performance gain is worth the minor cost increase. If budget is truly tight, prioritize. Use better mix during critical times. Racing season, breeding season. Use leaner, cheaper mix during off-season when demands are lower. Buy your main components in bulk to reduce cost. Skip the most expensive seeds like hemp and flax if necessary and focus on getting good quality basics. Corn, peas, wheat, dari, safflower. Even a modest improvement over bottom barrel commercial mix makes a difference. What you should not do is assume cheap feed is fine because your birds are alive. Survival is not the standard. Thriving is the standard. A bird can survive on terrible nutrition. It just won't reach its potential. If you're keeping pigeons as pets and don't care about performance, maybe commercial mix is fine. But if you're racing, breeding, or showing, feed quality directly determines outcomes. Here's your action plan. First, look at what you're currently feeding. Read the ingredient list. What are the main components? Is it mostly corn and wheat? That's a red flag. Second, calculate the approximate protein and fat content based on the ingredients. There are online calculators for this. If you're below 15% protein and 5% fat, your mix is too lean. Third, decide if you'll custom blend or buy premium pre-mixed. Custom blending gives you control. Premium mixes from specialty suppliers are convenient but more expensive. Either is better than cheap commercial mix. Fourth, formulate a mix appropriate to your bird's current needs. Racing season? High energy mix. Breeding? High protein mix. Off-season? Lean maintenance mix. Fifth, source your seeds from reliable suppliers. Quality matters. Sixth, store properly in sealed containers in cool, dry conditions. And 7th, observe your birds. Within a few weeks of switching to better nutrition, you should see improvements. Better feather condition, more energy, better droppings, improved performance. If you don't see changes, reassess the mix or check for other health issues. Feed is the foundation of health and performance. It's not glamorous. It's not high-tech. But it's fundamental. Champions know this. That's why they don't use $2 commercial mixes. They invest in quality nutrition because they know it determines whether their birds reach their genetic potential or fall short. You have the same choice. Keep feeding cheap mix and accept mediocre results, or upgrade your nutrition and watch your birds transform. If this video changed how you think about feed, please share it with other keepers. Nutrition is the most overlooked aspect of pigeon care. Most keepers don't realize how much they're limiting their birds with poor feed. Your sharing could help someone's flock reach new heights. Leave a comment about what you're currently feeding and whether you plan to change. And subscribe to Pigeon Healthy for information that actually improves your birds' lives and performance. Thank you for watching. Feed smart and watch your birds soar.